In for Kelly Steele, I'm Mark Fauser, Delaware 105.9 News. The Dan Gaffney Morning Show continues now on Delaware 105.9.
I have a special guest in the studio. He is a local businessman, business owner, an experienced candidate, a native Delawarean, born and raised in Lewis, Delaware. And I am going to turn the floor over to one Mr. Mike Miller. Good morning, Mike Miller.
Good morning, Dan.
The floor is yours, sir. I know you had a few things to say before I get into questions for you.
Yes, good morning, my fellow Delawareans in Sussex County. I asked Dan to allow me to come in this morning to say a few words, and Dan so graciously obliged. So I'm going to get right into what I'd like to say, please. Over the past year, I've been consulting with my family, friends, business partners, and most importantly, the Lord. Most recently, over the summer, my daughter and I took a trip across the country, traveling and visiting 15 different states and crossing the border into Mexico. It was truly a life-changing experience. We stopped at many different motorhome resorts, walked the streets in San Antonio, Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, making stops into Atlanta, Georgia, New Orleans, Florida, the Carolinas, through Virginia, Maryland, and back home to Delaware. We passed through checkpoints in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, where we saw people being detained for trying to cross the borders from Mexico. We met a lot of people on our journey. Upon arriving back home and putting it all into perspective, I can truly see how blessed my family's life really is. But this is not the case for so many of our own family members, our friends, and our neighbors. My fellow Delawareans, I come to you today and ask for you to give me a chance to serve as your representative in the United States Congress. And it's with honor that I announce my candidacy. Delaware is unique that we are a smaller state, but some of the issues we face are one and the same with many of the states my daughter and I visited. We have citizens who are homeless. Jobs are scarce in Delaware, and in some instances, the pay is low. You cannot afford to pay your bills or feed your family a healthy meal. Children who are very capable of attending college cannot afford the rising costs of college tuition. And just recently, our senior citizens did not receive a Social Security increase, yet the cost of medication continues to rise. Our families are struggling. Your neighbors are struggling. Just look around and you'll see others who are only looking for a better opportunity to take care of their family. We can do better in Delaware and across this great country, and I'm asking for you to give me a chance to serve in the United States Congress. I am a candidate who comes from the people. I'm a son, a husband, a father. I'm the owner and operator of 2 successful businesses for 23 years, where we built from the ground up: Taxman Accounting Services and Miller's Lawn Service. I'm a gainful employer who contributes to our economy every day. I'm a graduate from Delaware State University with a BS degree in business, and someone who loves to give back to the community in any way I can. Whether it's giving to the Boys and Girls Club, throwing a party, or just giving to a complete stranger. I love to give and serve. Anyone who knows me will truly tell you the same. My wife Denise and I are native Delawareans who live in Lewis. We have been married for nearly 23 years and have 3 children: Sierra, Mike II, who is attending Valley Forge Military College, and our daughter Jordan, who is a junior at Cape and Lopin High School. I'm asking you to give me a chance. I've run for office in the past, and it's true I've never held elective office. But let me ask you a question. When we graduate from college and high school, we apply for perhaps 10 different jobs and perhaps interview for 5 before we are finally hired. And in some cases, it's longer. But what do? I'll tell you, we dust ourselves off and rise back up. At times, it can be very discouraging, especially when you know it's a job you can do. If I was just given the chance, how many times have we all said those exact words? The employer tells you what he is looking for at the time and tells you that you're not a good fit. But as time marches on, your job skills improve, your outlook on life has changed, and the employer is now looking for a different kind of candidate to fulfill the company's needs. Well, running for office is just like that. In this case, you are the employer, and I'm asking you, the voters, to give me a chance to serve you in the United States Congress. You supported me in the past when I ran against Congressman Mike Castle. We received nearly 100,000 votes, and it was because of you, the voters. In 2000, I called for a higher minimum wage to at least $8 per hour, for a wall to be built along our borders to help protect and keep our citizens safe. I told you we needed to improve our educational system and create safeguards to keep our children safe in public schools. So many senseless shootings. I even said I would not support NAFTA if elected. Nearly 15 years later, these changes still need to be made. That was in 2000. Our failure to make and create new laws will continue to plague our state if we do not make changes now. This is why I am committed, and I will support a bill to raise the minimum wage to $11 per hour. I will support legislation to repeal and replace NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. This will ensure us to have free trade and bring some of our manufacturing companies back across the border to the United States that left when NAFTA was enacted. I will work to create legislation to help college more affordable to everyone who wants to attend. The rising cost of tuition is just getting out of control. These are just some of the ideas I have in store for Delawareans. Over the next year leading up to the election, we hope to see you at one of our town halls or perhaps a meet and greet. I look forward to discussing these concerns that are near and dear to you. Friends, I heard Oprah Winfrey say it best. And she said, if you keep doing the same thing and you keep doing it the same way, then you're going to keep getting the same results. But if you want something different, some different results, then you have to do it a new way. You have to elect a different candidate, a candidate who comes from you, the people. My fellow Delawareans, we cannot afford to keep electing the same established candidates who keep jumping from one seat to another. In closing, I'm asking you for the privilege to serve you in the United States Congress for Delaware, and I promise I will not let you down. Thank you, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you.
Mike, I have some questions. Stick around. We'll be right back. Traffic Watch, Delaware 1059, 717. Hobbit Beach at Delaware 1059. We just heard Mike Miller announcing he is running for U.S. Congress. He is a Democrat. He's in the studio this morning. Mike, I want to talk about something you said. You went on this trip, and you went through various checkpoints. Where were these checkpoints?
Arizona, New Mexico, California.
On the border with Mexico?
Yes.
Right. What did you think of that when you see Mexicans traveling to America? Is the border secure enough, or what are your thoughts on immigration?
Well, it's wide open.
Is that okay with you or not okay with you?
No, I'd like to see, and I've said in 2000, I'd like to see a wall built. I said it in 2000. 15 years later, we're still debating it.
Right. How would you grade the Obama administration? An A, B, C, D, or F? Generally, how they've done.
Well, I think our economy has turned around. I want to say, and I don't hear many people saying it, I mean, when he took office, the unemployment rate was high. the stock market was down pretty low. Companies were beginning to fail, big companies, the car manufacturing companies, and it turned around. The unemployment rate is down. The car manufacturing has been saved. Yes, we've given out loans to help secure them, and in most cases, the money's been paid back with interest. The people's 401ks and in the stock market was really low, and they were losing money, but right. The Dow was at 7,000 points and falling. Now we're back up to 15, 16,000 points, and no one's saying anything about how great that is. I mean, everybody's feeling like everything's great. But I think he's done a fairly good job. I'd say a B.
If it was possible, would you support him if he was able to run for a third term?
Well, we have a political system that says you have 2 terms, and I support that.
All right. Just checking. You know, in the hallway when I met you, you said we kept it a secret who was coming in. And you said, did anybody guess anybody black when they were guessing who was coming in? And I said, no, they didn't. Right? And what do you think about that? Why did you notice that?
Well, if you look up and down our state, we don't have any black legislators through, I'd say, from Newcastle, Kent, Sussex on down. No one in the Sussex County
politics, right? No
politics. Yeah. We've had a black mayor in Lewis, George H.B. Smith, but the Sussex County Council's always been, Caucasian. The state legislators had one, Don Blakey, but he lost in Kent County. And most of them come out of the city of Wilmington. Chip Flowers was our state treasurer. Seems that he got ran out of town, but I thought he did a fairly decent job.
Mm-hmm.
We can do better.
Very good. Mike, let's talk about, you mentioned shootings, and you're running for a federal office. So on the federal level, a lot of people say we need gun, and the president even said we should politicize this, make it a political issue. Is there anything government can do to prevent these mass shootings, in your opinion?
Well, it's very difficult if someone has a gun and they rightfully can own one. They've gone through all the background checks, and I mean, on any given day, anyone can do anything. But I wouldn't say that government is the end-all to be-all to making us all safe. We do, however, need to do more with helping those who are mentally unstable, and continue to check how they're doing and progressing, and see who has these guns.
Mm-hmm. And so really there's nothing, really. Do you think there's anything additional we can do politically?
Well, I believe in the right to bear arms. However, my family and I, we don't have any guns. I'm personally afraid of them myself.
Right. You're afraid of guns?
Yes.
How come?
Anything can happen. You've seen accidents. You've seen triggers go off. You see just a touch of a, I wouldn't want to be a part of that.
Right. Around your home, you mean?
Around my home.
So you wouldn't own any weapons because of...
I've seen, we see in the news where children get hold of the gun that's in the house, even locked up or supposed to be secured. So it's a tragedy waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm. So you're not one of the... you hear people say, I need a gun to protect myself in my home.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be your feeling.
No, I've never owned a gun.
Right.
And I've been safe in my home.
Right.
Keep the doors locked, keep the security on.
Right.
And, but I'm pretty accessible to the community. I guess it's all in where you go and who you hang out with.
Right. Well, I'm glad to have you here today. Mike Miller is with us. You did not want to take calls, is that right?
No, what we're going to do is we're going to be having some town halls. I'm accessible by email. We don't want to get into all the issues. There's plenty of them. But what we want to do is hear from you, the voters. We're going to have town halls. We're going to have meet and greets.
Right.
You can email us at mikemillerforcongress@gmail.com, and that's a 4, the number 4, in there.
Mike Miller for, the numeral 4, Congress. Mike Miller for Congress@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right. Mike, it's exciting to have you here. Yeah, help me out here. You were on the ballot against Castle 2 times, but you ran 3 times against him. Is that right? Am I right?
2 times
trying to remember.
Mike Castle.
Okay, I'm just trying to remember. School board, you run for school board. You've run for the 6th Senate seat that was newly created, right?
Yes.
I think Andy Staton was eventually the Democratic nominee, I believe. Right?
That's correct.
And you're back at it today with
in Delaware. We need to bring some of those jobs back across the border when NAFTA wasn't created, and help people have better paying jobs. We need those for them to help take care of their families.
Right.
We need to strengthen families.
How do you feel about defunding Planned Parenthood in light of the horrific videos released about their gruesome behavior of mutilating, of course, babies and selling their baby parts?
Well, I don't have any comment about that this time.
Why not? How do you feel about that?
We'll talk about that at a later time.
Are you pro-choice? Or are you pro-life? Do you agree with abortion, not agree? I mean, what do you think?
Those are issues that I'm here today to announce my candidacy and talk about strengthening families, raising the minimum wage.
Right.
I'm a successful business owner, 23 years, have the capabilities to go in and look at budgets.
Well, certainly what we do with
on
babies
things.
is has to do with the family, so I thought it was right in line with where you were. And since that's a federal issue, just wondered.
Well, that's a law that is on the books. I'm going to be a congressman who upholds the laws of the land, and abortion at this present time is legal.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch any of those videos?
What videos?
The videos of Planned Parenthood, undercover videos, several series of videos released over this past summer.
No, okay. I didn't.
All right, very good. Mike, final word from you?
Well, I want to let the people know that we need better jobs. We need higher wages. Our education, cost of college tuition is getting out of control. And that's what we're going to need to do to strengthen working families here, is get better paying jobs, keep criminals off the streets. And I want to let you know that I will be attending some parades that are coming up. I'll be in the Milford Community Parade tomorrow night, and I'll also be in the Delaware State Homecoming Parade on the 24th of this Saturday of October.
Right on.
And please give us a shout out on our email, and we'll be back in touch with you.
Mike Miller for Congress@gmail.com, and that's the numeral 4. Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for coming out here. I appreciate it. It's time for a news update. Your phone calls next. But first, here's Mark.